Howdy. Hi, y'all. It is January 16, 2024. Know me, I may not come back ever again. You may never see my face again. And I think a lot of you might be happy about that. Linty London, Analog Synth Player, Andrew Cruz, Matt Davis. Hello. The ship is sinking fast. Wow. Sherry Hughes, thank you very much. Yeah, standing up for the truth just gets you pummeled. Wonder why, hello. And Oracle 11, Ray Clay, Super Painting, Silent Walk, excuse me, Patricia White, Hypocrites Matrix, Jane Northrup, Justin Wynn, SCDHL number 4, hi, from Southern California. Yeah, it's hard to be happy. It's hard to be happy anywhere. That's the unfortunate reality that we are living. Cynthia Johnston, hello. And thank you very, very much for your selfless service, both of you, Sherry, Cynthia, and Haskasan, hello. So we're going to get right into our fabulous, very cold weather. Backing up, interstates all over the place, crashes. Well, I-5 backup leaves drivers stranded for hours. And I believe this is in Oregon.
And go on I-5 south of Eugene because of those icy conditions. And as KEZI 9 News reporter Jennifer Singh shows us, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Some travelers were stuck for more than 15 hours overnight.
It's been almost 24 hours since bumper-to-bumper traffic started piling up on I-5 North. And officials with the ODOT tell me that traffic has still not caught up.
It was late last night that just a few too many spinouts and people losing traction on the travel lanes on northbound I-5 between Cottage Grove and Eugene. It slowed down and came to a stop for hours.
For some, that stop was more than 15 hours. Margie Hickel was making her way from Houston, Texas to Lacey, Washington, when she got stuck for 17 hours.
We moved maybe 100 feet, maybe 100 feet 3 times.
She says she would have made it through much quicker, but dozens of drivers fell asleep while waiting for the roads to clear.
They had all been cleared, and the only thing they were waiting on was to get people off of the road that had run out of gas and to wake truckers up that had fallen asleep in the middle of the highway.
David House with ODOT says they only have 2 state police officers to monitor the freeway for every 10 miles.
So we spent from midnight to 3 a.m. waking people up. So just getting the traffic moving again took 3 hours. And we're still seeing the backup from that event last night.
Moving forward, he says it's hard to say when the roads will once again be safe to travel.
Whenever there's any kind of blockage of a lane, even if it's a stalled car, it causes some kind of slowdown and backup. What we're seeing here, especially on I-5 south of Eugene, that's an extreme version of it because of the weather conditions.
David House with ODOT says they've been out on the roads with millions of pounds of de-icer.
Okay, so what's going on here? Because you know what? That's not a lot of snow, but ice, 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 ice. Oh, maybe people need to do some, I don't know, research on, what is it called, geoengineering? Maybe. I-10 closed. And this is in Houston, Texas.
Freeway in Waller County at FM 359 are closed due to an overturned semi and crashes.
KPRC2 investigator Mario Diaz is near the scene right now. He has an interview you will only see on 2. Mario, what are you seeing in that area at this hour?
And let me show you the scene that we have access to. It's right here, right behind us. This is what's causing a massive headache on I-10 heading into the city. from the San Antonio, Austin area. As we go to the other side of the road here, heading westbound, I want to show you this truck. As you can see, it's been struggling for several minutes. At the front of the cab, you have its tires that are just spinning on top of the roadway here as we've been dealing with ice this morning from these frigid temps. And as if you come right over here now and you look, this is the backup that you're seeing on I-10 coming out of Houston heading towards San Antonio. Traffic has been like this for miles, with people standing on the roads for at least an hour and 15 minutes. But as we go back to this overturned semi, and you can see this scene here, you have Gregory's Towing Company right now trying to clean this up. We know that the driver is okay. That's the good
news. Texas, Houston, wow. Not much on the road, but a whole lot of ice on the road. Yeah. Well, this is an incredible video here. Yeah. This is Houston. It almost, you have to think, is this like a flash freeze? All of these cars going at speeds that you wouldn't think that they would be going where there's so much ice, but they are, and boy, oh boy, reminds me of when I hit black ice on I-91 in Massachusetts. It's a scary happening. Well, this is 5 minutes long, and I am going to post the link. I don't want to get a copyright strike, but this is pretty intense. It goes on and on and on with I mean, virtually every car. Either they can't stop, or they're just spinning all over the place. Car after car. So, and they must know. But it doesn't, if you're driving along and there's no ice, and then suddenly you come across the ice, it's hard to tell, because it doesn't look like, it just looks like, the road. So, yeah, and here, 200 crashes reported in the city of Houston.
Heavy icing could be found on almost every bridge on I-69 in Montgomery County, causing multiple crashes. The bridge at Old 105 between Security and Cleveland had to be closed due to a crash, but reopened after TxDOT treated it. Motorists didn't show TxDOT any respect while they tried to treat state roads in Montgomery County. Motorists would not yield to crews treating the San Jacinto River Bridge in Conroe. The Conroe Fire Department had to close the road so TxDOT could treat it. An 18-wheeler carrying compressed gas hit ice and rolled over on 249 at Louetta. The driver made it out okay. We asked Brian Brady what got him behind the wheel. How far have you driven so far?
Just a few minutes.
What's it been like?
So far, it hasn't been too bad, but I haven't been on any bridges or anything yet, so I'm waiting to see what that's going to be like.
That's the nerve-wracking part, huh?
Yeah.
What about tomorrow? You think you'll be out driving tomorrow?
Well, I got to come back to work, but I'm going to see how the roads are in the morning.
Not good. Not good. Wayne residents without heat after basements flooded. Now they're frozen.
I would just say take it slow and easy. That's what I've been telling my customers.
We found Fayette Avenue, half pond, half skating rink Tuesday morning. The flooded park nearby also froze over. In the still swollen Pompton River, we spotted a yellow truck somehow pushed up against a tree.
This is in New Jersey, by the way.
Frigid temperatures in play for the next several days. Officials are warning people to heed signs and barriers.
And there have been a few stragglers that, unfortunately, when they see the barriers, they think they're for everybody but them, and then they drive around them, and then all of a sudden their car is filling with water and they're dialing 911.
For some families, staying warm is the major challenge. Last Tuesday's rain and subsequent flooding from the Pompton and Passaic rivers damaged furnaces, hot water heaters, and other appliances in low-lying basements. Blaine Torr lost his washer, dryer, and water heater, among other meaningful possessions.
The water came up so fast this time, there was nothing I could do. My son and my daughter let me come and use their shower, and I'm going to go up to my daughter's later and do some laundry after the claims adjuster comes.
Oh, more and more are going to experience those climate lockdowns. Tractor trailer crashes in Alabama. Ooh, boy. Oh, Alabama. Ice. Ice everywhere. And if you have not seen this video, chemtrail technology back in the 1920s, smoke curtain from an airplane in 1923. This was a test run by the U.S. Navy and Air Force. If anyone cares to circulate it, the link is in the chat. And yes, the Davos meeting of the quote-unquote elite, or the truly subhuman psychopaths.
You know, it's absolutely critical that we accelerate. I am convinced beyond any doubt that because of the decisions being made in the marketplace now, because, I mean, you know as well as I do, even if, you know, I don't want this, obviously, but if you wound up with a different president who was opposed to climate crisis, I got news for you. No one politician anywhere in the world can undo what is happening now. The marketplace is doing this. And the only issue for all of us is not whether or not we can get or will get to a low-carbon, no-carbon economy globally. We will. The only question is, will we get there in time to meet the challenge of the scientists in order to avoid the worst consequences of this crisis? That is what is at stake.
Oh, the liars. Oh, the liars. The liars. The liars. Oh, it's so hard to take, isn't it? Yes, it is. So, where is that other video? Here, Davos wants you to know that you are killing the planet for 2 weeks. The 1,000 jets, the limos, the SUVs, the food, the drinks, the hotels, the clothing, the accessories, the shoes, the escort services, the 5,000 police, the private guards, the waiters, the snacks and nibbles, the halls and conference rooms, top prices, top quality for the top of the food chain, all based on science that they paid for, showing what they wanted to convince the great unwashed that they're right and we should all sacrifice every luxury and most necessities, but they won't, silencing all dissent, deferring to their lackeys in authority, revering fallacies exactly like so many settled science certainties in the world controlled by grifting, psychotic liars. Let's not forget the army of useful, frightened idiots manipulated into supporting their psychopathy, slandering skeptics, and destroying their own health and future. Trust the silence. Trust the science. But you can trust there's going to be a whole lot of silence because these people are just going to ram everything through. And most people will just bend down and...
Delegates gathering in Davos for the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum are faced with a daunting range of global challenges. Worsening conflicts, worsening climate change, a weak global economy, fears over artificial intelligence, attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. In its report published Wednesday, the summit organisers said disinformation is the biggest short-term risk.
The potential impact on elections worldwide over the next 2 years is significant, and that could lead to elected governments' legitimacy being put in question. And this, in turn, could, of course, threaten democratic processes, lead to further social polarization, riots, strikes, or even intrastate violence.
The summit takes place against the backdrop of two major wars in Ukraine and Gaza. Among those due in Davos are the Israeli President Isaac Herzog, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Chinese Premier Li Qiang, and US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Alongside political leaders will be hundreds of the world's most powerful chief executives. Critics say their wealth has increased while billions are getting poorer.
Across the world, people are feeling extraordinary hardship. And at the same time, there's a few sprinting off at the very top into the distance, and some of them will be in Davos. And it is, yes, a space for dialogue, for important discussions, even for holding political and business leaders to account. It's why organizations like Oxfam take part. But it's also not an international democratic space in which, transparent, accountable decisions are being made.
Summit organisers say it's vital to bring together political and business leaders to find solutions to the world's myriad challenges. Henry Ridgwell, VOA News, London.
Ah, yes. It's critical. Bring together all of the lying psychopaths. Bring them together as they munch down on the greatest food that you could probably even imagine, flying in their jets so they don't give a shit about this climate change business because they're all hypocrites. Don't we know this? Yes, of course we know this. Oh God, why can't we stop the few when we are billions? Why? I want to know why. I'll get to the World Economic Forum in 1 second, but this by our very own SCDHL sent this to me. Very interesting.
It now appears that YouTube has reached levels of desperation never seen before, never foreseen. In fact, it looks like it's actually burning up your computer, your CPU, your processing power, apparently, making your CPU sweat just so you can watch ads. That's how bad it's getting right now. Leave a like on this video if you enjoy my coverage, and if you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow down below. I don't care if people use ad blockers. I hope that you'll consider buying some coffee, or maybe buying some merch, or maybe joining my locals. People support in different ways. I get that. Going to the level of burning up resources on people's computers just to bury them, to make their experience so bad that they pay you money, is insane to me. This out of PC Gamer this morning. It's not just you. YouTube is slowing down your computer if you have ad block installed by making your CPU sweat, likely as part of its draconian war on ad blockers. In the latest wave of anti-ad blocker measures implemented by YouTube, ad block users have been reporting widespread performance issues when the extension is enabled. In a thread posted to the YouTube subreddit over the weekend, users noted that having ad block enabled caused slow load times and increased CPU usage. You want to slow your website down? That's one thing. But if you're making my computer burn up, you're burning up extra resources, you're slowing down. I mean, this is insane. It's like spyware, malware, I should say. Quote, "This messes up the resources on the computer as a whole. It just kills Chrome. I decided to test this myself, and I noticed that YouTube Open with AdBlock increases my computer's CPU usage 17%. While using AdBlock or similar programs is against the website's terms of service, AdBlock is a massively popular extension. On Chrome Web Store, it boasts 60 million users. While you do agree to YouTube's terms of service upon the site, there is a massive difference between simply blocking AdBlock users and causing increased CPU usage. Yeah, I would say you're screwing up my computer."
Yes. They're just innocent companies just trying to make a dime. U.S. consumers are engaging in a historic debt binge, and delinquencies are ominously rising. And it's so true. Americans are going into debt as if tomorrow will never come, but of course tomorrow always arrives. Eventually, what we are witnessing right now is truly historic debt binge. And to many of the experts, it seems like there is no end in sight to the unrestrained spending that is going on. But are U.S. consumers going into record levels of debt because they are feeling good about things, or because they're trying to survive? Thank you, Michael Schneider, for finally acknowledging that people are using their credit cards because that's the only resource that they have left to pay their friggin' bills. Or because they are trying to survive in an increasingly harsh economic environment. In America today, the cost of living has become exceedingly oppressive. Employers are laying off large numbers of workers, and poverty and homelessness have been absolutely exploding all over the country. Millions of U.S. households are just barely hanging on by their fingernails, and many desperate consumers have been piling up debt in a frantic attempt to stave off the inevitable. Well, I bring this to your attention because there's an awful lot of people who are kind of silently boiling inside. And boy, we're going to see an explosion of those who are so stressed, chronically stressed. Yes, chronic stress can lead to a regressive state, a base state where people can get very violent and act irrationally. Consumer borrowing increased much faster than expected during the month of December. And mainstream media, I was reading these articles, oh, the economy, it must be fine because consumers are racking up debt for the holidays. They're racking up debt to pay their bills. Credit card usage and buy now, pay later usage seemingly surged during the holidays. On top of already hefty debt loads, now delinquencies are at their highest level since 2012. In 2012, we were just coming out of a great recession. Those were very painful days. Avoid credit card debt if you can, because it is literally financial poison. Many Americans have no choice, though. More than 60% of the nation is living paycheck to paycheck, and just trying to pay the bills from month to month is really a struggle for millions upon millions of Americans. A restaurant owner that charges $16 for a BLT sandwich made headlines all over the nation. And he only makes $2 on each sandwich. I would have to. I'd need proof on that, but I still remember the days when a trip to the grocery store would cost me about $20. Now $20 will buy one sandwich. The economic outlook for the year ahead is not promising at all. We're going down. I hope you're all prepared. And yeah, people are really struggling.
The reality is, nobody can afford life right now. Nobody knows what to do. And more people are immigrating here, and more money is, we're going into further debt. And it's like, I can't even afford my groceries, girl. And I'm working 40 hours a week. And I'm a single fucking income. And then I have clients who literally just like don't even have beds. The reality is, nobody can afford life right now.
Yeah, millions are just like this woman. But hey, a whole lot of us are just useless.
In the book, if I understand it correctly, you argue that actually the amazing breakthrough that we are experiencing right now not only will potentially make our life better, but they will create, and I quote you, new classes and new class struggles, just as the Industrial Revolution did. Can you elaborate for us?
Yes, in the Industrial Revolution, we saw the creation of a new class of the urban proletariat, and much of the political and social history of the last 200 years involved what to do with this class and the new problems and opportunities. Now, we see the creation of a new massive class of useless people. As computers become better and better in more and more fields, there is a distinct possibility that computers will outperform us in most tasks and will make humans redundant. And then the big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games.
And that's exactly what's happening. It's happening now. The uselessness of the two-legged. Yeah. Can you feel it? And you want to talk useless? Right here.
In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears. Really white tears in general, because that's what Karens are, right? They Karen out, and then as soon as they get caught, it's like Green Waterworks. White men can get away with that too. And it has the same effect. Even as the right tries to politicize the idea that masculinity is being robbed from American men by multiculturalism and wokeism, they still want to be able to have their tears. In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly.
Now, this woman is still on MSNBC. And this isn't the only video where she's spewing all of this race rhetoric. And if she had done that, let's say 2 decades ago, she would have been fired on the spot. No longer. No longer. In fact, here we go. So, yeah, Trump has this major blowout in Ohio where he trumped everybody. And Joy Reid, listen to this. Oh my God.
New Hampshire.
And I think to the point that you made, Steph, I mean, it's the elephant in the room. She's still a brown lady that's got to try to win in a party that is deeply anti-immigrant and which accepts the notion that you can say immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. She's getting, birthered by Donald Trump. And I don't care how much the donor class likes her, which will ramp up a lot, the better she does in New Hampshire. So it's still a challenge. I don't see how she becomes the nominee of that party with Donald Trump still around. I can't picture it happening. Maybe it could happen. Ron DeSantis' only argument for staying in it is he's the white guy, that he can still make the appeal to white evangelists.
White, she's the brown candidate, Nikki Haley, who, well, you would have to dig into some research to find out, that she's Indian. That's her heritage. But really, this is such a disgusting, this is news. Yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. It's all about race. Holy shit. These people are just, they're paid to spew this kind of hateful rhetoric. Can you imagine waking up every morning, getting dressed to go to work, to spew what this woman just said? What this subhuman just said? And here, this woman, college versus trade school.
So everyone pushes college, and I went to college. I have a master's degree. I make very good money for my age. My husband did not go to college. And I've talked about this on here before, and I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand it. So I'm going to throw it into perspective for you, and I say it not to brag, but to hopefully help any of you. I have a college degree. He has a high school diploma. He went to trade school right after high school. He got his certificates and everything. And here we go. So this past July, he had already brought home more than my gross salary this year. Come December, he will have quadrupled my salary. Quadrupled it. If he decides to pick up overtime on a weekend, a 2-day weekend, if he picks up overtime, he brings home that weekend, just in those 2 days, more than I make in a 2-week check. I have a master's degree. He has a high school diploma. So that reason right there is why I will not push college on anyone. If you think that college is not for you and you want to try a trade school, obviously look into it, see if you think that you have what it takes, and then 100% do it. Do it. I don't think that enough people are talking about this. And it is 100% worth it if you stick with it. He's been doing it for 8 years, so obviously he has made his way up the ladder. But if he leaves his job today, 100% guarantee he will make the exact same amount of money wherever else he decides to go. I cannot stress it enough. I can't stress it enough. I am so jealous. Like, he doesn't have student debt. Nothing. And he's quadrupling my salary in 1 year.
Okay. That's for now. But trades are going as well. But anyone going to college, really, that's a sign that people really have no clue what has happened to our economy. Parents, I'm going to put this in the link in the chat. Send it off to parents who have these high school kids and they're, thinking about going to college. It's so, talk about a waste and talk about useless. And here, okay, CBDCs are totalitarian's wet dream.
If you think about the benefits of digital money, there are huge potential gains. It's not just about digital forms of physical currency. You can have programmability, units of central bank currency with expiry dates. You could have, as I argue in my book, a potentially better and some people might see it, or a darker world where the government decides that units of central bank money can be used to purchase some things, but not other things that it deems less desirable.
World Economic Forum, that's what they're talking about. So that's what they've been talking about, but it's coming. All right, spend your money at the end of the month. If you have any monies left over, it's going to be gone. And they're talking about the New World Order.
That order seems to not be the order anymore. We are on the way to a new order, so we are between orders. Do you agree with that?
By the way, that's Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor.
Or are there ways of what are we able to keep on the positive side from the old order to bring into a new world order? And how can we avoid that new world order becomes like a jungle growing back, and we rather have an order based on international law and the principles that have brought us prosperity and freedom for decades?
I guess, and maybe this is the old kind of teacher in me coming out. I think of this a little bit more about a transition of eras rather than a transition of orders, but the two are kind of cousins of one another. The reason I draw the distinction is because I don't think the international order built after 1945 is getting replaced wholesale with some new order. It will obviously evolve as it has evolved multiple times over the decades since 1945. But I do think in a more sharp and distinctive way, we are moving into a new era, and that's what I talked about in my remarks, that we are, the post-Cold War era has come to a close. We're at the start of something new. We have the capacity to shape what that looks like, and at the heart of it will be many of the core principles and core institutions of the existing order, adapted for the challenges that we face today.
Really, Jake? You don't think that the international order is going to change all that much? Well, it has already changed a whole lot. Recognize that. So he may be talking about the international order that exists today. No, our countries are not sovereign. We lost that.
For a long time I was on Twitter, and now it's become such a toxic place that I've concluded it's not a worthwhile place to spend time. And as you said, it is exhausting. So you do have to pick and choose, and you have to think about where the places where you can get your message across. But I am trying to figure out, I have given up on X, what a scary name that even is, right? And I don't know what the alternative is right now.
So the question of the social media, I must say that I have abandoned Twitter too, so X, because it's a toxic environment, and we talk about, I have no solution on that, but I think one day it will come the moment of the code of conduct in these places, because journalists, if you spread crazy news and insults, and if a journalist says racist things, he can be amended. Exactly. Why social medias that have such big power, we still can, because it's new, but I think there will be a societal reflection on how information is brought there. Of course, on X now there is also the policy of the owner that is problematic. But I think this is a problem of the society of the future, the deontology in social media.
For a long,
scary X, toxic. All social media is toxic now. But the World Economic Forum, this meeting, Davos meeting, is all about how to control how to control the masses, how to control the useless eaters that still exist. I don't, boring. Yeah, so here, John Kerry.
What's the carbon footprint of these events every single year that you come here? You think it's worth it? Peasants pay for your crimes?
That's a stupid question.
Is it really? Is it more stupid than you traveling here to tell us? Please, sorry?
We're done. We are done now.
Don't grab me. You can't grab us. This is a free society, mate. We have freedom of the press. Why do you think you're more important? Your carbon footprint doesn't matter, but everybody else around the world
Suggested that. Nobody ever suggested that. Don't make up stupid questions.
being here suggests that.
A stupid question.
You being here every single year and doing this suggests that.
And I have done a huge amount.
Listen, now it's finished, please.
Why can't I ask him questions? Who are you? Why are you trying to bully me out of us?
So please.
That doesn't. A lot of people say no to a lot of the policies and agendas he pushes. They don't get a choice. So why can't we ask him a question in a public space? Can you not touch me? Can you not touch me? No, I'm happy.
Wait.
So answer. We can walk nicely.
Your question.
What did you answer?
Please respect
Thank you
the
so
no.
much. I don't know. Sir.
Listen, that's all right. We're walking.
Oh, God, I just can't stand these guys. I cannot stand... God. How many facelifts has this guy had? Oh, how many times does he get on that jet because he cares so much about the climate? They're so full of shit. And don't you wish that people would get that? Dark Davos. Escort services completely booked. Yes, they're always completely booked. Yeah. These are the stunning, powerful, disgusting, quote-unquote elite. And listen to this. I mean, it's... Oh my God, they just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. So, you have to wonder, how many people are watching MSNBC? How many people actually watch these people and think that they're getting the truth from them?
At this point in the evening, the projected winner of the Iowa caucuses has just started giving his victory speech. We will keep an eye on that as it happens. We will let you know if there's any news made in that speech.
All right, something... Okay, this one.
Picture takeaway from that, and I don't mean to be, again, too dark, as you said, on this, but it is not, if we are worried about the rise of authoritarianism in this country, we are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country, if we're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government, the leader who is trying to do that is part of that equation. But people wanting that is a much bigger part of that equation. Right. And the American electorate is made up of two major parties. One of those parties has been flirting with extremism on the ultra-right for a very long time. They've brought them in a way that they haven't been central to Republican electoral politics ever before, and I know because I've been studying this. But once you have radicalized one major party so that those are the preferences of the people who adhere to your party, the leader's interchangeable. And yes, Trumpism is sometimes what we call it. MAGA movement is probably a better way to do it. But there is an authoritarian movement inside Republican politics that isn't being bamboozled by Trump. They are pushing Trump to get more and more extreme, because the more extreme things he says, the more they adhere to him. And that is coming from a very large proportion of the American right that adheres to the Republican Party. And that's why this is a Republican Party problem more than it is the problem of one man and his leadership.
Doesn't that tie together
the big picture?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. The Democrats aren't extreme. The Democrats aren't authoritarian. The Democrats are for the people. Really? Oh, Jesus, why do we have to listen to lie after lie? But you can't go anywhere because even on, on the right, a whole lot of the Republicans are lying. So we're trapped. Zelensky courts JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Bridgewater at Davos. That's right. Urges more money from the West. Ukrainians need predictable financing throughout 2024 and beyond. European Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen told World Economic Forum participants they need a sufficient and sustained supply of weapons to defend Ukraine and regain its rightful territory. Ugh. We have to play this game. We're just going to play this game. They're going to destroy all of us, and they just keep it up. Zelensky, in addressing world leaders at the forum, he emphasized that the West needs to help Ukraine achieve air superiority if his forces are to have a chance to emerge victorious against Russia. And, well, every expert that isn't lying has said there's no way that Ukraine can beat Russia. Okay, so you're just pouring money into an empty hole, pouring money into a black market, give them more weapons so that they can sell them and enrich themselves. It's Ukraine is just a washing machine. Launder that money. Oh, God. Shell becomes latest to suspend Red Sea shipments after 2 fresh Houthi attacks on tankers. Yeah, this continues and continues and continues. But, yeah, there are European nations that say, we don't want to be a part of this coalition. Italy, Spain, France have refused to take part in the operation. US-UK strikes were supported by Germany, Denmark, the Netherlands, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, South Korea, and Bahrain, who all signed a joint statement backing the bombing. We are pro-bombing. We don't care about all of the Palestinians, especially the children who are being killed off every single day. But don't bomb our ships. And here, yeah, these people are effing insane.
Is that if we want that to happen, a peaceful, just end to this war, the way to get there is more weapons to Ukraine. So the more credible we are in our military support, the more likely it is that the diplomats will succeed.
So give Zelensky the weapons that he asks for, because that's the way we're going to get peace. War is peace. Well, you didn't achieve it. And how long has this been going on? 2 years? War on Gaza. How Israel killed Palestinians waiting for food trucks in northern Gaza. Young Palestinian girl cries as she watches the Israeli army demolish her home. And they're doing that because she's Hamas, she's a Hamas soldier, and there are Hamas militants in that home. That's why they're doing it.
الله ينتقم منهم من العرب الخونة تعطيها الطوال
There are over 15,000 demolition orders in Jerusalem alone. It is an evil beyond. I don't even know. So here is the son of a Zionist general.
They use demolition orders. I have Palestinian friends who have a demolition order on their house. Well, what does that mean? It just means that one day the army is going to come and destroy their house and give them like an hour notice. And there are, in Jerusalem alone, there are over 15,000 demolition orders. It's in one city. And, you know, countless and countless. And they show up, you have an hour to get all your stuff and you're out. They come with bulldozers, destroy the house. Sometimes what they'll do, and you're going to think I'm making this up. I'm not making this up. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll give the family a choice. Either they have to demolish their own house, or if the military does it, they're given a bill and they have to pay for the demolition of the house. So they have a choice. So this is just how absurd and horrifying this reality is. And this is not, what I'm telling you now is just the day in the life of. There's nothing strange or unique about this for Palestinians. This is the day in the life of. Happens every day to you, to your neighbors, to your best friend, to your cousin. And that's not even beginning to talk about, say, bombings and shootings and killing of people. This is just, you know, making life.
Miko Peled. He came out of his Zionist indoctrination. Israeli soldier confesses to randomly blowing up houses in Gaza.
זה היה בית של אחד מהבכירים. עשו לו אחלה שיפוץ. תסתכלו, משהו. מגיע לו.
Great renovation. Wow, man, the IDF sure is showing how psychopathic a whole lot of their soldiers are. We saw how psychopathic a whole lot of American soldiers are, but not on a daily basis with Twitter. But yeah, our American soldiers, yeah, not so moral. And this is not a precision strike. It is a massacre. A comment. Why can't they just build a new house? Are you kidding me? Are you... Oh, I don't get it. I don't get much anymore. So, check this out.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily and I'm a 31-year-old stay-at-home mom in Albia, Iowa. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 7-month-old. Something crazy has happened to me and I need to expose it to the world. This is the story that the hospital does not want you to hear. 7 months ago, I gave birth to my son, and 2 weeks later, DHS showed up at my door unannounced and they told me that his umbilical cord tested positive for cocaine. I have never done cocaine in my life. And at this point, we were extremely upset and very fearful that they literally came to our home that day to remove our children. We decided to comply and we let them in our home. They would have done it regardless, but we decided to be cordial. We let them in, they looked at our home, they studied our behavior, and of course they didn't see any behavioral indicators because we're not doing drugs, and they did not find any drugs in the home or signs of drug use. At that point, we told them this must be a mistake. We told them our story and our concern for what actually happened, if our son was actually exposed to cocaine and how. And we were also very concerned for the potential baby that may have been exposed to cocaine and didn't actually have any intervention that it needed. At that point, they said, it's impossible that there could be a false positive or that a mistake could be made. They said, we're just doing our job, though this is an unusual case. And they said, we can't argue with the doctor. At that point, we we underwent a 20-day investigation, and during which they did 2 visits with us for about an hour each, as well as a few phone calls. They then did a 3-month hair test, which of course came back negative. Though we knew it would be negative, we were very relieved when it was, and we thought, okay, this is the end of the road, and they're going to do what's necessary to understand what's going on here. At that point, they told us that actually the investigation that they did didn't really do anything because the case was automatically founded from the beginning from the original test. At that point, we received in the mail a letter saying that I was founded for a case of child abuse and I am on the child abuse registry. We were extremely upset by this because, again, we had every reason to believe that DHS was going to take the necessary steps to understand what happened, and they did not. And so we lost all faith in them. At this point, they said, we have to agree to services. And when we asked what they were, they would not tell us. And we said, well, how can we agree to something that we don't know what it is? And they said, you have to, or else I'm going to go to the county attorney and I will court order you to. At that point, we still were like, well, we need to know what they are. And then our DHS worker decided that we were declining services. And she escalated it to a China case, child in need of assistance, though she didn't actually have a child that was in need of actual assistance. So we prepared to go to court, and we spent months gathering all of our information. Fortunately, we started from the beginning, but this took a long time to do. We actually decided to do our own further testing that we had required or requested from DHS from the beginning that they declined and said that they would not do. So we did a 12-month hair test that covered the entirety of my pregnancy, and it was negative, of course. We also did 5 other tests that were also negative. Then we submitted this a few weeks before the court date so that everyone could get up to speed and actually see all the evidence we're submitting. We showed up in court and the entire DHS staff had not looked at any of our evidence, and they came in wanting to see us for weekly visits. At that point, fortunately, we had representation, and my lawyer told them, we're not doing weekly visits unless she tests positive. So we decided we would agree to 1 more random test from them. And of course, if it's positive, then they could intervene further. We still have not had that, but fortunately from the court date, we received a court order to do additional testing on the sample, a DNA test and a retest, the original sample that caused all of this chaos. We received the court order, and then we went to the hospital and the lab and told them, showed them the court order, and then we were blatantly disregarded by both parties. The hospital and the lab disregarded this court order entirely. So at this point, we don't know what to do because we were told that we couldn't do further testing without a court order on the original sample. We got the court order, and now everyone is just skirting around this order, and they will not take it seriously. We also have the actual placenta in my freezer. The one that's in question, we have the actual placenta, and I cannot get anyone to do a drug test on it. They won't do it, they don't want to, and of course they don't want the liability. So here I am, 7 months in. I'm the mom of 2 small children. And my question is, DHS, how am I supposed to deal with all the shit that you've put me through? I've literally been through hell on earth because of your guys' mistake. And at this point, I want to know who else this has happened to, because I can't be the only one. Also, I feel bad for anyone who actually does have an active addiction that has their children removed, because honestly, I don't understand how anyone can recover from an addiction with the hell that you've put me through for the last 7 months. So if there's anyone out there that sees this and it resonates with them, please share it. Please message me or comment people that you know that this has happened to, because this is not okay. None of this is okay.
I'd say not, but it happens. People in the community need to rally around other people who are getting screwed. So, breaking new proposed bill in Maine, little Maine, that has a whole lot of conservative, but, well, government is not conservative. This bill says the state can take custody of a kid if the parents oppose a sex change surgery and hormone treatment. Tomorrow, a committee will decide if this bill moves forward. Well, It's remarkable. It's just so remarkable. You know, and I've had conversations with subscribers who are conservative, who live in conservative areas, and they feel that because they live in a conservative area, that somehow protects them. But I remind them, well, how did that protect you from the mask mandates that were implemented in your conservative area? I mean, people just don't really, they love to, you know, gloss things up to a point of unreality in which they live. Shocking footage released shows Utah police finding young girls stuffed inside a 50-gallon barrels at the property belonging to pedophiles. It's unbelievable, man.
Hey, hi. What's the matter?
I may very well get a community guideline strike. I can't play it, so yeah. Pedophiles don't come in one religion as well, or one color. No, they don't. In fact, let me just go back here, and I see this right here. Biden attempts to make conversation. How old are you? 11? Wow. Woo, man. Ooh, 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 ooh. Just ooh, right? So here, this is interesting. A controversial church shelter. I believe this is in Washington, yeah. And boy, the control freaks, they're in positions where they have a little bit of power and they exercise it, they want it. That's why there's got to be massive pushback against these types.
No recording here. There'll be no recording tonight.
Why is that? Isn't this a public meeting, ma'am?
It's private property.
But it's a public meeting. You decided to host it here.
It's a community meeting.
I know.
And it's not open to the press.
That's not how public meetings work, ma'am.
You're welcome to record my comments.
Thank you, sir.
You can record mine too.
Thank you.
This is your final request to not record the meeting per the requests here.
Would you can call the police and let them sort it out.
If you could please leave the meeting, this is private property.
I'm not going to leave until you call the police.
Be happy to.
You know it takes a long time for the cops to arrive.
We're having a community meeting and there's a man who is not willing to abide by our rules and they need to have him trespass on the property. He's being belligerent and rude and unruly.
She's accusing me of being belligerent and rude by asking questions. Interesting. Of course, there are all these witnesses here who they see me being belligerent and rude, and of course I'm recording this, but amazing how they make things up. Who is the ultimate arbiter of this? Is this a city manager issue? I mean, you're an officer right now, you're trying to enforce the law. What law would I be breaking if I chose to continue to report in what I believe is a public meeting?
So without getting into more information, which is what I would need to do,
sure.
if you don't follow their rules on private property, and the person that owns that private property wants you to follow those rules and decides that you're going to be trespassing the location, then they can do that.
So this is the letter that they posted, and so when it says community meeting, that to me tells me it's public because I don't live in this community. So based upon this letter, that just tells me that it is a public meeting. Also because it was posted all over online. It wasn't just sent to the immediate houses.
It's open to the public, and that's where we can record, and that's what I'd like for you to find out, sir.
Okay. I can try to get some more information.
Okay.
How far a radius was this notification given to people? Because I did not hear about it till this young lady told me yesterday.
Why is the church not involved in the community until after these decisions to open these shelters or request for funding?
So all your participants that come here, they have to be sober when they're here. They're not supposed to have any drug use or anything while they're here, correct?
Is there an exit plan should things not go well?
How is this going to help your congregation and not further divide the community?
Or what if it's going to be allowed, and how are you going to control that?
What's the end goal for each individual person?
Would it not be a good idea right now to plan for a future meeting so that grievances could be addressed at that one?
I don't understand your anger because
My anger?
Joe has never expressed that.
You've never said that you're bringing in a day shelter.
I didn't really.
Half the reason people are here is because people went door to door to tell people, because nobody wants this. The whole community knows it. Nobody wants this.
A majority of the houses between First Ave and Second Ave
not even
have
including
already signed a
Fourth. We haven't gotten
petition
there.
against this. A majority.
And we've talked about 1073 that was a failure here at this church.
And we've only had one weekend to talk about it as a neighborhood.
And it's been an ongoing
And it's
problem.
already a majority.
Yeah, and it's already a problem.
You said October? We could have had this meeting in October.
Yes.
Or before you applied.
Yeah, when we started talking about
She
getting
needs the money.
That's a document.
That's the only reason she's doing this.
No, how is she going to use
Like,
that
it's
money
not
to get
towards you, it's
She's
just
going to
frustration. And you know it's going to get worse, so like, don't sit here acting like it's not going to get worse. It's annoying to lie to all of our faces.
And also, the meeting is over at 8, so if you want to continue the conversation, which I think is going to be fine for some folks.
And you won't even answer anybody's questions is ridiculous.
People keep talking over me when I try to talk. And so by taking down all the questions, we're going to be able to answer them without a bunch of crosstalk and
I appreciate that.
And then, see, you're talking over me.
You talk very slow.
Are you guys, to all you people, are you all local homeowners?
Yes.
Right here?
Yes.
Right. Okay, and we have a home over here too.
Yeah.
This is gonna hurt all the real estate around here too.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't afford to stay. I can't afford to go and I can't afford to stay.
Just alone of you coming here and doing the recording because of the public meeting, right? It's been open to the public more or less, right? And it being about a public event. We're not going to get involved in that.
Okay.
As a police. And
Okay.
Again, we're nothing that you need to concern about right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care.
Voila. Control freaks everywhere. And this is amazing. I'm not a fan of Bill Maher, but this guy is a joke. He is such a flippin' joke. Anybody doesn't know who he is, Vermont Senator. Bernie Sanders doesn't know the difference between equity and equality.
DEI, are we confusing equality of opportunity with trying to guarantee equity in outcomes? Okay, that's interesting because I think this word equity has come into the language in the last few years, and before that we didn't hear it a lot, and I think a lot of people hear equity and they hear equality, that like it's the same word, and it's not the same word and the same concept. So how would you differentiate between equity and equality?
Well, equality, we talk about, I don't know what the answer to that is. Come to think of it, equality is equality of opportunity. All right? We live in a society, we want all people to have whatever color your skin is.
Equity, I think, is more guarantee of outcome, is it not?
I think so. I think that's
okay. So which side do you come down on?
Equality.
Equality.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. DEI, are we confusing equality of opportunity?
It's so scary what we have. Illegal immigrants in Italy are angry. We want pocket money. We want money. We are making many sacrifices because there is no Wi-Fi in the hotel. Breakfast is not good. Lunch is not good. Dinner is not good. And rooms are too small. We also want new clothes.
Protestiamo perché al nostro fine sussidio sempre noi ricevuto a credito, like a credito, ma noi non vogliamo like a credito, noi vogliamo soldi, perché qua non va bene, nostro capo non va bene. Sempre noi ricevuto like, noi non ricevuto soldi, noi non hai vestiti, il nostro albergo non ha wifi.
So, they probably had some NGO official in their country encouraging all of these guys to come over to European countries, and that's where, they sacrifice. They're coming over. They were told they'd get everything free.
What they're doing this is pretty wild, because there's a radio station in San Diego that is a Mexican radio station. This guy was on the Mexican radio station, is explaining how we do it. He's like, he's gone back 4 times that month. So every time he crosses over, he gets $2,000. He's
gaming it.
So he's gaming. He made $8,000 in a month from the federal government.
You almost, like, what do? You set up, because back in the day, when there's, I don't know everything, obviously, but like maybe the similar time in American history would have been the early 1900s. And you had all those Europeans coming over on the boats to work over in the U.S.
That's how my family got here.
Yeah, and everybody went through Ellis Island or somewhere like it, where you go in and you got some sort of papers.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
And
honestly,
they
check.
At least though, they got you, like they got a name.
Yeah. And well, not even. They people changed it.
Yeah, they changed it right there if it was like too hard to pronounce.
Yeah,
sometimes.
that's a lot of people do that.
It's very, very different today. $8,000 in a month from just going back and forth across the border. Wow. VA ripped for helping pay migrant treatment as over 400,000 veterans, their families wait. Americans, you're being treated like, well, sheet, and you allow it because you don't have respect for yourself. Chase, 16 and 17.
We're headed towards the Air Force, Lynn Air Force Base.
Headed towards the Air Force Base up.
It's a white Toyota, headed towards the Air Force Base.
Just past us, we're heading towards the Air Force Base.
We're heading into the Air Force Base.
Heading into the Air Force Base, heading into the Air Force Base.
Get ready.
Heading towards the Air Force Base, repeat Air Force Base Cape.
Don't get out yet. Don't get out.
Put your hands! Put your hands out the window! Put your hands out the window! Do not move!
Oh, it's so.
Stay there, gentlemen.
No, it's not.
Going back towards the sound of my voice. I'll get him and then security.
Slowly,
Five.
Yeah. Uno por uno.
Here, on the window.
Las manos arriba, las manos arriba.
Oh, wow. Listen to this.
However, independents and Democrats now list immigration high on their list as well of issues that are important to them. They do call it a crisis. The president does not. Either does the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. And if you look at the Trump administration time handling the border versus what the Biden administration is doing with the border and the policies that they've changed, it seems like a weakness for the campaign.
Well, first of all, Brett, what I would say about immigration is that we have to look back. Donald Trump had 4 years to do something on the border, and he did nothing. And then right now, what we have, in fact, Donald Trump put immigrants in cages. He separated families, worked at the president. Joe Biden has gotten to work, still putting those families back together. But when it comes to immigration,
wait a second. You're not saying that the situation in immigration and the border is better under the Biden administration than it is under the Trump administration? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying to you is that President Biden took office, sent a comprehensive immigration reform package to Congress. They have refused to pass it or do anything on it. They are grandstanding and playing political games.
He switched Remain in Mexico. Remain in Mexico policy, he flipped. Catch and release, he flipped. He changed the border situation.
Donald Trump rounded up immigrants, separated families, and put them in cages. That's not how we treat human beings.
There are more kids in custody under the Biden administration than there were under the Trump administration. Do you know that?
Biden.
And so, listen, you have to concede that immigration is a vulnerability for the Biden campaign. Can't you concede that?
What we concede is that President Biden is working on this issue and that Republicans in the House are playing political games and doing Donald Trump's bidding so that no real results get done.
However, independent...
God, aren't Americans tired of hearing the same old lies? Aren't they tired of it? My God. This guy doesn't have any answers. He's just giving, the Democrat, it's out of a playbook. They all say the same thing, and they can't come. Biden's been in office for 3 years. Nothing has been done. Biden signed an executive order when he first came in. He didn't write up legislation and send it off to Congress so the Republicans wouldn't pass it. That's an abject lie.
And Democrats now...
God. Republicans are no better, but wow, man. At least they can lie, and then you have to do the research to verify their lies. These guys, wow. Paid shills for the Democratic Party who, it's disgusting what we've become.
Why don't you guys seeing what's going on back here? You guys doing something illegal?
No, we're just doing our job, brother.
Just doing your job? You just don't want the American people to see what's going on in this facility here at Century Elementary School? Why don't you guys seeing what's going on back here? You guys doing something illegal?
No, we're just doing our job.
An elementary school, huh?
Hey guys, we are in San Diego, California. Central Elementary School. The students have been moved to a newer school, but now it is being used to house the illegals. The entire school, they have tents set up there. They have a health care van out here. This is what your tax dollars is going to. This is what open borders is getting you. Hey guys, we are in San Diego.
There's so many coming in. They have to put them somewhere, right? UK cities, Muslim immigrants are in charge. In a whole lot of areas, the Muslims actually keep the police out. Liverpool, reports of a pack of asylum seekers molesting schoolgirls, then attacking teachers who tried to stop them. Yes, more and more coming your way. And again, I'm going to play this. Scotland. First Minister of Scotland? Scotland. Okay? It's Scotland. Listen to him.
The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white. Every Deputy Chief Constable, white. Every Assistant Chief Constable, white. The Head of the Law Society, white. The Head of the Faculty of Advocates, white. Every Prison Governor, white. And not just Justice. The Chief Medical Officer, white. The Chief Nursing Officer, white. The Chief Veterinary Officer, white. The Chief Social Work Advisor, white. Almost every trade union in this country headed by people who are white. In the Scottish Government, every Director General is white. Every chair of every public body is white. The Lord Justice Clerk, white.
Oh, well, could somebody inform him that Scotland is a white country? That is fading because of all of the illegal immigrants, but it's a white country. And how could Scots actually listen to this and put up with it? And here, Alice Weidel, AfD leader, first German political party in the polls. They are really ascending fast. And that's why a whole lot of the German parliament wants to ban the AfD. And she speaks in German, but what she's saying is the borders must be closed, illegal immigrants must be rejected, anyone who stays here without authorization must be deported, criminals, terrorists, and social fraudsters who have been illegally naturalized must hand over their German passports. This is what we mean by re-migration, and good luck with that. Texas girl, 11, found raped and murdered under her bed, was killed by a migrant who crossed into El Paso in January and was promptly freed by authorities. Now, this was back in August 2023, but this is going on. And Chicago woman, 61, is left brain dead after being punched and stomped on the head on a train by an 8-time felon who wanted to steal her purse. Okay, we've got a problem with crime. We've got a problem everywhere. But now we interrupt this programming to bring you something different. Something different.
Et voici une partie de sonnerie classique. Et voici une partie de sonnerie classique. Et voici une partie de sonnerie classique.
I'm out of here. Whoa. Well, I wish I had cats that watch TV, because this is from a subscriber. And she sent it to me, and I got permission to post it in the nice warmth of home. The nice fleece jacket on her hairless cat is watching, well, I don't know, whatever device this is, but it's a screen with birds. Pigeons? I love it. Love it. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, this looks like a very happy, healthy horse. Yes. I love it. Rescuing dogs from flooded city.
These guys rescued dogs from a flooded city, so they decided to go around the flooded streets to rescue animals in need. They came across 2 dogs that were trapped inside a house. The first dog saw them and started to swim towards them, as you can see on the video right now. So after they got him in the boat, the dog could finally get some rest. The second one was stuck inside the house, so they had to pull him out. Just watch as they turn the camera around. The dog was already looking at them, hoping to get some help. But as you can see, this door is locked and it's barely open, so they had to find a way to get it out. It must have been very exhausting for the dog to stay in this place all day, so they tried everything they could think of to get it out. After some minutes of trying, they finally was able to rescue both of the dogs. Thankfully, they are both okay. Consider subscribing if you love dogs.
I do love dogs, and I love people who really care. Truth is stranger than fiction. Inside the deep state clone factory, clearly, where all the Joe Biden clones currently in operation are manufactured. And when we mention what we are living, people think we're crazy. And here, living the best life. Oh, God. Yeah. Life could have been so incredible. Here's another two-legged saving a turtle. Turtle that's stuck. I never understood people who could just not care. I'll never forget in Kentucky, I was driving with a subscriber who there was a snapping turtle in the middle of the road, and it wasn't an easy place to stop. And I drove past it, and I couldn't keep driving, so I turned around, and it snapped this pole or umbrella, I can't remember what I used, but I just, dragged it to the side of the road, and it would have been hit. Yeah. And this is very cute. Scaring Mom. Whoa. Whoa, I'm powerful. I can just jump and knock over Mom. And here, this cat walking across the bridge.
Wait. 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 No. So.
I'm not getting my paws wet. So this is Daddy bringing Mom a treat. Oh, the two-legged has so much to learn from the four-legged. And how about a bit of Kamala? Yeah.
It's the same no matter who the Republican candidate is, the Republican nominee.
Well, let me just tell you this. No matter who the Republican nominee is, we're winning. We're winning.
You've seen the
Our vice president is delusional.
numbers, a lot. Do you think Donald Trump at this point is a foregone conclusion?
Well, I'm really confident we're going to win because we're going to cheat, okay? We're going to cheat, and we have so many different ways how we're going to accomplish that. First of all, we're flooding the country with new voters. I was in charge of ignoring the border in order to make that happen. We're going to release a deadly virus disease called X. Elon Musk can't have all the fun. Once we fearmonger the fuck out of everyone, okay, we're going to go ahead and instill mail-in voting. That's how we won last time. Ooh, we've weaponized our entire Department of Justice to go after our opponent, right? And, if all else fails, we'll release the holograms of the aliens and burn the fucking country down, whatever it takes. Go America.
She does a good job. Oh, and this is very cute too. Oh, I've been in that position with a pole going underneath appliances to get the toy. I'm out. I'm out of juice. I'm still not feeling very good. I don't know what is going on, but yeah, I think it has to do with something in the air because my nose doesn't stop dripping. My eyes are sore, but I'm also sore just all over. So, yeah. We should have learned from the four-leggeds how to really love. But here we are. Here we are. And boy, Americans fighting Americans. That's just going to continue. 2024 election year. Yay, yay! Democrats, Republicans, come out of the matrix. Come out. Republicans, you have had your years of power. What did it get you? Democrats, you have had your years. What did it get you? Everything has only gotten worse. Everything. So, maybe we have to do something different. Maybe what we need to do is organize in our communities, protect one another, help one another. But that seems to be way too much. So I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Thank you for showing up tonight. Bring your best self to life. Live honestly and speak honestly. That requires doing self-reflection. Don't think that if you haven't faced yourself in the mirror, you're able to do that. Especially for Americans who have grown up in the country of the lie. Yeah. Don't deceive your own self. Self-awareness is the most important awareness. Truth, your own. That's the important truth. That's the truth that sets you free. Not all of this truth about what's happening to us collectively. No. And, frankly, it doesn't even matter if you're not doing anything with the knowledge. So, stay safe. And on that note, I say good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.